Listen to me, the biggest enemy stopping your success isn't around you. It's inside you. It's not your family. It's not your boss. It's not your past. It's not your pain. It's your excuses. Every time you say, I can't, every time you whisper, maybe tomorrow, every time you blame someone else, you give away a piece of your power. You've prayed for change. You've wished for better. You've said you want to rise, but then you let excuses chain your feet. Excuses are the invisible ropes that tie strong people to weak lives. They sound gentle, but they steal your destiny quietly. Today, I came to tell you one truth. It's time to kill your excuses before they kill your dreams. Because excuses are comfortable. Excuses feel safe. Excuses sound logical, but they are lies dressed as reasons. The moment you let them live inside you, they poison your growth. You can't climb a mountain while holding onto your excuses. You can't build your future with your hands full of I can't. So today, I want you to decide, right here, right now, are you going to live by your excuses or are you going to live by your purpose? Because you cannot serve both. Every excuse you make is not a reflection of your weakness. It's a reflection of your fear. Fear wears many masks. Sometimes it looks like doubt. Sometimes it sounds like logic. Sometimes it hides behind words like, I'm not ready, or I'll start next week, or I don't have enough time. But deep down, it's the same thing. The silent whisper of fear trying to convince you that comfort is safer than courage. And every time you listen to that whisper, you bury your potential a little deeper beneath layers of hesitation. Think about it. How many times in your life have you wanted to do something? Start a business, change a habit, speak up, chase a dream. But then you hesitated because you feared what could go wrong. You told yourself stories to make it feel okay. It's not the right time. I'll do it when I have more money. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. But if you look closer, those were never real reasons. They were just excuses decorated with fear, fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of losing, fear of not being enough. Excuses are comfortable because they protect you from risk. They create a soft bed for your fears to rest in. They tell you, stay where you are. It's safe here. And that's the trap. The comfort zone feels good, but nothing grows there. Flowers don't bloom in the dark, and dreams don't rise in safety. Growth only happens when you step into the unknown. Imagine a man who always wanted to start his own business. Every day he wakes up, goes to a job he doesn't love, and tells himself, one day I'll start my own thing. But one day never comes. Why? Because every morning he finds another excuse. The economy isn't good right now. I have bills to pay. I'll do it when I save enough money. Months turn into years, and before he knows it, he's still stuck where he was, living a life built on excuses. And the saddest part, deep inside, he knows he could have done it. That regret burns deeper than any failure ever could. Fear disguises itself as wisdom. It tells you not to take risks because it wants to keep you safe. But real wisdom doesn't keep you stuck. It teaches you to prepare, to act, to grow. Fear says, what if you fail? Wisdom says, what if you learn? Fear says, you're not ready. Wisdom says, you'll never be ready until you start. The difference between the two is everything. One keeps you caged, the other helps you climb. Look around you. Every great person you admire once felt the same fear. They had doubts, they had insecurities, they had excuses. The difference is they didn't let fear make their decisions. They acted anyway. They moved forward trembling, uncertain, scared. But they moved. The only difference between the people who win and those who stay stuck is the ability to act in spite of fear. You see, fear is not the enemy. Fear is proof that you're about to do something important. It's a signal that you're stepping out of comfort and into growth. The real danger is not fear. It's surrendering to it. The moment you let fear control your choices, your dreams begin to fade. Excuses feed that fear. They give it power. They make it grow. And before long, you start believing that your excuses are the truth. But here's the truth. Every excuse can be rewritten as action. I don't have time becomes, I'll make time. I'm not ready becomes, I'll learn as I go. It's too hard becomes, it's worth the effort. You have to flip the script. Life will never hand you the perfect moment. You have to create it. You have to decide that your purpose is stronger than your excuses. There's a story of a young woman who always wanted to get in shape. Every year she promised herself, this year I'll start. But every morning she'd wake up, look at the gym bag and say, tomorrow. She'd tell herself she was too tired, too busy, too stressed. Then one day, she looked in the mirror and realized her excuses had become her lifestyle. That day, she didn't wait for motivation. She didn't wait for a Monday. She simply started. It was hard. It was painful. But day by day, she changed. Not because she found the perfect plan, but because she stopped finding excuses. That's what it means to kill your excuses. It's not about denying your fear. It's about refusing to be ruled by it. You acknowledge it, but you still move. You hear it, but you still act. You feel it, but you still step forward. The power lies not in being fearless, but in being brave enough to act while fear is still present. The truth is, most people never fail. They simply never start. They spend their lives building walls of reasons instead of building bridges of actions. They keep saying, when I have more time, not realizing that time doesn't wait for anyone. They keep saying, when I'm ready, not realizing that readiness is born in motion, not in waiting. So the next time fear whispers in your ear, remind yourself every excuse you make feeds your fear. Every action you take starves it. You can't let fear and faith live in the same space. One will grow, the other will die. Choose to feed your courage, not your excuses. You may not control what happens around you, but you always control how you respond. Don't let your excuses become your story. The world doesn't need another person who almost did something. It needs someone who did it despite the odds, someone who stood up when fear said sit down, someone who acted when logic said wait. Excuses may comfort you today, but they will cost you tomorrow. The moment you stop giving them power, you unlock the strength that's been sleeping inside you. And when that happens, nothing, no fear, no failure, no obstacle can stop you. Because the one who kills their excuses becomes unstoppable. Your circumstances do not define who you are, your choices do. Life is full of people who had every reason to quit, every reason to fail, every reason to say, it's not my fault. Yet somehow they rose. They didn't rise because life favored them. They rose because they refused to be defined by their circumstances. They made a choice to fight, to believe, to move forward when it would have been easier to give up. That's what separates the people who succeed from those who stay stuck. It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's choice. You see, circumstances are like weather. Some days the sun shines, other days the storm hits hard. But the weather doesn't decide whether you'll reach your destination. You do. The sailor who turns back at every cloud never crosses the ocean. And that's what most people do. The moment life gets cloudy, they stop. They blame the wind, the waves, the rain. They say, if I had more support, I'd make it. Or if life was easier, I'd try harder. But excuses don't move ships. Decisions do. I've seen people with everything working against them rise higher than those who had every advantage. A young man born in poverty with no guidance, no help, no education. Yet he chose to study late at night under a streetlight because he didn't have electricity at home. He could have said, this is unfair. He could have said, others have it better. But instead, he made a choice to use what he had instead of crying about what he didn't. That's what choice looks like. It's turning pain into purpose and struggle into strength. Then there's the other side, the person who has everything, a good home, a degree, opportunities, and still complains, still blames, still waits for things to be perfect before taking action. That's the difference between being defined by your circumstances and deciding your own definition. It's easy to say, I can't, when things are hard. It's easy to point fingers and say, if only I had what they have. But every moment you say that, you're giving your power away. You're letting life decide your limits instead of you deciding your destiny. The truth is, circumstances test your strength, but they don't determine your story. You can be born in darkness and still choose to become light. You can be broken and still choose to heal. You can be poor and still choose to dream big. Life is not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens. Think about a seed. When it's buried in the ground, it's surrounded by dirt, darkness, and pressure. It could complain that life is unfair, that it's stuck under heavy soil, but it doesn't. Instead, it uses that pressure to push upward, to grow, to break through. The same dirt that buries it becomes the ground that feeds it. That's what powerful people do. They use their pain as soil, not as chains. Your life is a garden of choices. Every day you plant something: faith or fear, action or hesitation, strength or excuse. Your harvest tomorrow depends on what you choose to plant today. You can't keep planting blame and expect growth. You can't keep planting excuses and expect progress. Every choice you make either pushes you closer to your destiny or pulls you further away. Maybe you didn't choose your start. Maybe life dealt you a difficult hand. But you still get to choose your play. You get to choose your mindset, your attitude, your response. You get to decide, I will not stay down. And that single decision can change everything. There was once a woman who lost her job unexpectedly. For weeks, she sat at home blaming the company, the economy, even her friends. But one morning she looked in the mirror and said, enough. She decided to take control of her life. She started learning new skills online. Small business from her living room, and within a year, she was employing others. Did her circumstances change? No, she changed. And when she changed, her circumstances followed. That's the secret. Life doesn't change because you wait, it changes because you act. Your choices have the power to shift your entire direction. A small decision made with courage can open doors that fear kept closed. You may not have control over everything, but you always have control over something. The power to choose your attitude, the power to choose your response, the power to choose not to give up. Don't let your past become your prison. Don't let your environment become your excuse. There are people who came from worse and still made it. There are people who lost more and still found purpose. You are not a victim of your circumstances unless you choose to be. You can rewrite your story at any moment. You can decide, I won't let what happened to me define what I become. That one thought separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Life will test you. It will try to break you. Every test is also a question: will you let your situation shape your spirit, or will your spirit reshape your situation? When life throws storms, some people build shelters. Others build ships. The ones who build ships are the ones who move forward no matter what the weather says. Your circumstances are real, but they are not final. What's final is your choice, your decision to stand up again, to keep moving, to keep believing even when everything says stop. You have that power inside you. You have the power to choose growth over excuses, action over fear, determination over despair. So stop saying, I can't because of my circumstances. Start saying, I can despite my circumstances. Because the moment you say that, the universe listens. Life begins to open up. Opportunities start to appear. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Remember this: your circumstances can't define you unless you surrender your power to them. The richest soil grows the strongest trees because it's full of pressure, weight, and challenge. The same way, your struggles are not meant to bury you. They're meant to build you. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your environment. You are your choices. And the day you choose to rise above your situation, that's the day you become unstoppable. Perfection is a beautiful lie. It whispers softly, wait until everything is right. Wait until you're fully ready. Wait until the timing is perfect. And while you wait, life moves on, opportunities pass, moments fade, dreams grow cold. The truth is, if you keep waiting for everything to be perfect, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Nothing and no one is ever perfectly ready. The world doesn't reward those who wait, it rewards those who start. Look around you. Every success story began with uncertainty. Every dreamer who became great started when things were messy, unclear, and imperfect. They didn't have the best plan, the best resources, or even full confidence. But they moved. They took that first shaky step. Because perfection isn't the beginning of success, it's the result of consistent action. You get better by starting, not by waiting. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall, they wobble, they stumble, but they keep trying. They don't say, I'll start walking when I'm sure I won't fall again. They walk because they fall. Their falls make them stronger. That's how life works. You learn by doing. You grow by trying. You win by showing up even when you're scared. Too many people wait for the perfect time, waiting until they have more money, more energy, more knowledge. more confidence. But the truth is, there is no perfect time. The right time is always now. The longer you wait, the more your dream fades. Time doesn't stand still for hesitation. The days you waste waiting are days you'll never get back. I once knew a man who wanted to open a small restaurant. He had passion, talent, and recipes people loved. But every year he said the same thing: not yet. I'm not ready. The economy isn't good. I'll wait until next year. He waited 5 years. Then one day, someone else opened a restaurant on the same street with a similar idea. That person didn't wait for perfect timing. They just started. Within a year, the place was thriving. And the man who kept waiting stood outside one evening, looking through the window, realizing that his dream was now someone else's reality. Perfection is a form of fear disguised as preparation. It tricks you into believing you're doing something productive, researching, planning, getting ready. But what you're really doing is avoiding risk. You can't cross the ocean by staring at maps. You have to set sail, even if you don't know where every wave will take you. Think of an artist standing before a blank canvas. If they waited for the perfect idea, the perfect brush, or the perfect inspiration, the canvas would stay empty forever. But when they pick up the brush, even unsure, even imperfectly, something begins to take shape. And in that messy process, beauty is born. The masterpiece doesn't start perfect. It becomes perfect because they dared to begin. Starting before you're ready doesn't mean being careless. It means having faith that you'll learn along the way. Every expert was once a beginner. Every strong voice once trembled. Every confident leader once doubted themselves. The difference is they didn't let that doubt silence their action. They began where they were, with what they had. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who are willing to take imperfect action. Because perfection is not progress, it's paralysis. It stops you from moving, from growing, from discovering what you're capable of. It's better to take one imperfect step forward than to spend your life standing still. Imagine a young woman who dreams of writing a book. She has ideas, stories, and passion, but she keeps saying, "I'll start when I know exactly how to write well." Years go by, and the story stays trapped in her mind. One day, she decides to write anyway. She writes badly, she makes mistakes, she rewrites chapters over and over, but she finishes. And when she holds that book in her hands, she realizes something powerful. She didn't need to be perfect to start. She needed to start to become great. That's how transformation happens. You don't wake up confident. You build confidence through courage. You don't find clarity before you act. You find clarity through action. Life rewards movement, not hesitation. Even small steps create momentum, and momentum is magic. It turns fear into fuel and hesitation into power. People often say, "I'll start when I'm not afraid." But fear doesn't leave. You just grow stronger than it. Fear never disappears before you start. It disappears after you start. The first step is always the hardest because it breaks the chain of excuses. Once you take it, every step after becomes easier. And here's something to remember. Perfection is an illusion created by comparison. We look at others and think they have it all figured out. But behind every success story, there are messy drafts, sleepless nights, and countless failures. The difference is, they didn't post their struggles, they pushed through them. They dared to show up imperfectly, and that made all the difference. Your journey will never be flawless, but it can be fearless. You will fall, you will fail, you will face doubt. But that's the process of becoming. Every mistake teaches. Every setback shapes. Every challenge builds. Don't let the pursuit of perfection steal your chance to grow. Start messy. Start unsure. Start afraid. But start. Because 1 year from now, you'll look back and be grateful that you didn't wait for perfect conditions. You'll realize that progress, not perfection, was the real goal. The dream that stays in your mind will never matter as much as the dream you bring to life. So stop waiting for the sun to shine perfectly, for the timing to align, for the confidence to arrive. Life doesn't wait for you, it moves. And it's your decision whether to move with it or stay behind. Begin now. Take the step. Trust yourself enough to start even when everything isn't clear. Because one bold step today will always be worth more than 1,000 perfect tomorrows. Pain is the price of growth. You can't evolve without it. You can't become stronger, wiser, or better unless you're willing to walk through some fire. Every great story you admire was built on discomfort, struggle, and challenge. Yet we live in a world that tells us to avoid pain, to run from it, to numb it, to escape it. But what if I told you that pain isn't your enemy? What if I told you that pain is your teacher, your sculptor, your greatest push toward purpose? When a seed is buried deep in the soil, it must break open before it can grow. It doesn't complain about the darkness or the pressure. It pushes through it. That breaking process is painful, but without it, there's no life. The same applies to you. The things that break you are often the very things that build you. The pain you feel today might just be the foundation of the strength you'll stand on tomorrow. We all want to rise, but few want to endure the process that rising requires. Growth isn't comfortable, it's demanding. It pulls you beyond your limits, tests your patience, and challenges your faith. The gym hurts before you see muscles. The lessons sting before you gain wisdom. The heartbreak burns before you learn self-worth. Every transformation begins with pain. It's nature's way of preparing you for the next level. Think about the butterfly. Before it can fly, it must first be a caterpillar, trapped inside a cocoon, struggling in darkness. That struggle is necessary. If someone were to cut open the cocoon to help, the butterfly would never fly. It's the pressure, the fight, the resistance that gives it strength to lift its wings. Your pain works the same way. It's not trying to destroy you, it's trying to develop you. In life, pain reveals what comfort hides. When everything is easy, we stay the same. But when we hurt, when we're pushed, when we lose, that's when we discover who we really are. Pain strips away our illusions and forces us to face our truth. It shows us what we're made of. It teaches us resilience, patience, humility, and gratitude, lessons that comfort could never teach. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who dreamed of being a successful athlete. He trained hard, but one day, he suffered a serious injury that ended his season. He felt broken, lost, and angry. But instead of giving up, he chose to use that pain as fuel. During his recovery, he studied fitness, learned more about the human body, and discovered a passion for coaching others. Years later, he became a world-class trainer, helping others avoid the mistakes he once made. His pain redirected his purpose. What looked like an ending became a new beginning. That's the beauty of pain. It has a purpose, even when you can't see it yet. Every setback can shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate if you allow it. But you must stop seeing pain as punishment. It's not here to break you, it's here to wake you. When you face challenges, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because every painful experience carries a lesson that comfort never could. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you discipline. Maybe it's teaching you to let go of what's no longer serving you. Whatever the lesson, it's meant to grow you, not destroy you. Pain also builds empathy. When you've been through storms, you understand the struggles of others more deeply. You become kinder, more grounded, more human. You can't truly connect with others if you've never faced hardship. Pain humbles you. It softens your heart while sharpening your spirit. It reminds you that you're not made of glass, you're made of gold, refined by fire. Growth hurts because it demands change. You can't stay the same and expect new results. Sometimes pain comes not because you're weak, but because you're outgrowing where you are. The job that no longer excites you, the friendship that no longer feeds you, the habits that hold you back. Letting go of these things hurts, but staying stuck hurts even more. Change will always come with pain, but it's the only way to become who you're meant to be. Remember, pressure creates diamonds. Fire forges steel. Storms strengthen trees. Nothing valuable grows without resistance. So when life tests you, don't say, why is this happening to me? Say, this is shaping me. Because it is. Every challenge is molding you into someone capable of more strength, more wisdom, more grace. There was once a woman who lost everything she thought she needed: her job, her home, her stability. For months, she felt crushed by the weight of uncertainty. But that loss forced her to look within. It made her discover talents she didn't know she had. She started a small business, built it from scratch, and turned her pain into progress. Later, she said, losing everything was the best thing that ever happened to me. It taught me who I really am. That's what pain does. It introduces you to your power. You can read all the motivational quotes in the world, but until you face hardship, you'll never truly understand your strength. You'll never know how far you can go until pain pushes you past your limits. So stop running from pain. Stop trying to avoid every uncomfortable feeling. Embrace it, feel it, learn from it. Use it, because pain is not your enemy. It's your invitation to evolve. When you understand that, every difficulty becomes a tool for transformation. There will be days when it hurts so bad that you'll want to quit. But remember this, you are not meant to stay in pain. You are meant to grow through it. One day, you'll look back and realize that the moments that broke you were the very moments that built you. The nights that made you cry were the nights that made you strong. You don't have to love pain, but you must respect it. Because behind every breakthrough is a breakdown that tested you. Behind every success is a season of struggle that refined you. So the next time you feel pain, don't curse it, thank it. It's not a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're becoming. Pain is not your end, it's your beginning. It's proof that you're alive, that you're growing, that you're changing, and when you finally rise from it, you'll see. Pain wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to remind you that you were always stronger than you thought. The day you take full responsibility for your life is the day your excuses die. Responsibility is the death of excuses because it removes the ability to point fingers. It forces you to look in the mirror and say, if my life is going to change, it's up to me. Most people never reach their potential because they keep waiting for someone else to fix their situation. They blame their parents, their boss, the government, the economy, their past, even luck. But the truth is, as long as you're blaming something else, you're handing away your power. Responsibility is not about fault, it's about freedom. The moment you accept that your life is yours to shape, you unlock a level of power that no excuse can match. There's a story of a man who grew up in a broken neighborhood. He could have easily said, I never had the chance. And no one would have blamed him. He watched others fall into crime, addiction, and despair. But instead of following the same path, he made a decision. He said, I can't control where I was born, but I can control where I'm going. That one thought changed everything. He worked long nights, studied after work, saved every penny, and years later, he owned the business that once refused to hire him. He didn't wait for life to be fair. He decided to make life work for him. That's what responsibility looks like. It's not about having everything easy. It's about owning your choices even when life feels unfair. When you start blaming others, you lose control. You hand over the steering wheel of your destiny to circumstances. But when you take responsibility, you take back the wheel. You may not control the weather, but you control how you sail through it. You may not control what life throws at you, but you control how you respond. That response determines everything. Responsibility means saying, I may not have caused this, but I'll deal with it. Life will hit you with things you didn't expect, loss, betrayal, disappointment, but your power lies in your reaction. Some people get hit and stay down, others get hit and rise stronger. The difference is responsibility. The moment you say, it's on me to rebuild, the world starts shifting in your favor. Think about it. You can't change your past, but you can change what your past means to you. You can't control what people say about you, but you can control how much power you give their words. You can't control every problem, but you can control your mindset, your effort, and your decisions. Responsibility puts the focus back where it belongs on what you can do. There's a saying that goes, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. That's the mindset of winners. They don't wait for motivation, they create it. They don't wait for opportunity, they build it. They don't blame the system, they find a way through it. Responsibility is not about perfection, it's about direction. It means accepting that you are the author of your story. And if the chapter doesn't read the way you want, you have the pen to rewrite it. A young woman once told me that she spent years blaming her boss for holding her back. She said, never promotes me. He doesn't see my value. One day, she realized she was spending more energy complaining than improving. So she stopped blaming and started building. She learned new skills, volunteered for projects, and became so good that she was noticed by another company who hired her at double the salary. When she looked back, she said, "The moment I stopped waiting for him to recognize me and started recognizing myself, everything changed." That's the shift responsibility creates. It turns frustration into fuel. When you take responsibility, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop saying, "I can't," and start saying, "I will." You stop seeing problems as walls and start seeing them as doors waiting to be opened. Life doesn't respond to excuses, it responds to effort. The more ownership you take, the more control you gain. But let's be real, taking responsibility isn't easy. It requires courage. It's easier to blame others because blame gives you temporary relief. It allows you to say, "It's not my fault," and feel better for a moment. That relief comes at the cost of progress. Responsibility, on the other hand, might sting at first. It forces you to confront hard truths, but it empowers you. It puts your life back in your hands. Responsibility also builds respect, both from others and from yourself. When people see you owning your actions, even your mistakes, they trust you more. They see strength, maturity, leadership. But the real magic happens inside. You begin to respect yourself. You start realizing you are capable of changing your own circumstances. That self-respect creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. Look at any successful person, and you'll see the same pattern. They didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because they stopped waiting for help. They said, "I am responsible for my dream," and that mindset moved mountains. Responsibility gives you power because it eliminates the what-ifs. It silences the noise and centers your focus on solutions instead of problems. Even when life feels unfair, and sometimes it truly is, you still have a choice. You can either let unfairness define you, or you can define yourself despite it. Responsibility is not about ignoring the pain or pretending everything's okay. It's about saying, "Yes, this hurts. Yes, it's difficult. But I refuse to let it control me. I choose to rise." That's the voice of someone who's in control of their destiny. So when things fall apart, when people let you down, when life feels heavy, don't run from responsibility. Embrace it. Because the moment you take ownership of your life, you gain the power to change it. Stop waiting for rescue. You are your own rescue. You are your own solution. Every excuse you kill brings you closer to your potential. Every time you say, "It's my responsibility," you reclaim a piece of your strength. The day you stop blaming and start building, the day you stop complaining and start creating, that's the day you begin to rise. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's a blessing. It's the key that unlocks freedom, growth, and power. And when you finally hold that key, nothing, no obstacle, no failure, no past can stop you from unlocking your future. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. You can have the greatest vision, the strongest desire, and the boldest goals. But without discipline, they remain nothing more than words written in the sand, washed away by the tide of laziness and distraction. Discipline is the silent power that turns "I wish" into "I will." It is the habit of doing what must be done, and even when you don't feel like it. The truth is, success doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most disciplined. Because talent is potential, but discipline is execution. Every great achiever you admire has one thing in common: they learned to master themselves before they mastered their craft. The athlete who wakes up at 4 a.m. to train when others are still sleeping understands that discipline creates results long before applause ever comes. The student who studies daily, even when no exam is near, is building the mental muscle that will separate them from the average. The entrepreneur who grinds through rejection after rejection without quitting is not fueled by motivation. It's discipline that keeps the fire burning when passion fades. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. Think about this: motivation is like a spark. It burns bright, but it doesn't last long. Discipline is the steady flame that keeps the fire alive through the darkest nights. There will be days when you won't feel inspired, days when you'll be tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed, days when quitting will seem easier than continuing. But it's in those moments that discipline whispers, "Keep going." Discipline doesn't rely on mood, it relies on commitment. There's a powerful story of a man who wanted to transform his life. He was overweight, broke, and full of excuses. Every day he said, "Tomorrow I'll start." But tomorrow never came. One morning he looked in the mirror and said, "Enough, no more excuses. I will do what I must, not what I want." That day he started small. He walked for 15 minutes. The next day 20. Weeks later he was running. Months later he had lost the weight, built a business, and regained his confidence. When asked how he did it, he said, "I stopped waiting to feel ready. I became disciplined even when I wasn't motivated." That's the secret. Discipline doesn't wait for the right feeling, it creates it. Discipline means consistency over intensity. It's not about doing everything perfectly one day. It's about showing up every day, even imperfectly. The small daily actions, done repeatedly, compound into greatness. You might not see results today or tomorrow, but with discipline, you're planting seeds that will one day bloom into success. A farmer doesn't plant seeds and dig them up daily to check progress. He trusts the process. He waters them. He waits. That's discipline. To keep watering even when there's no visible result yet. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, comfort, entertainment, they pull your attention in every direction. Discipline is the shield that guards your focus. It's the ability to say no to what's easy so you can say yes to what's meaningful. Every time you resist temptation, you grow stronger. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you upgrade your future. Because success is never about what you do occasionally, it's about what you do consistently. Let's take a real life example. Imagine two people with the same goal to learn a new skill. One practices only when they feel inspired. The other practices every single day. No matter what, a month later, they both see progress, but one moves faster. 6 months later, one is average and the other stands out. A year later, one is still talking about what they'll do someday, and the other is already living the results. The difference isn't talent, it's discipline. Discipline is also about managing your emotions. Sometimes you'll feel fear, frustration, or boredom. But discipline teaches you to act regardless. You don't wait for the storm to pass. You learn to keep walking through it. When you train your mind to follow through despite emotion, you gain control over your life. Most people let their emotions decide their actions. I'm tired, so I'll skip it. I'm not in the mood, so I won't do it. But disciplined people act on decisions, not emotions. That's why they win. Even in relationships, discipline matters. It takes discipline to listen instead of reacting in anger. It takes discipline to stay loyal when temptation calls. It takes discipline to forgive when your ego wants to fight. Discipline builds character, and character builds destiny. Without discipline, even love falls apart because everything great requires effort. Discipline also requires patience. You can't rush growth. You can't force success overnight. The tree that stands tall today once struggled as a tiny seed, pushing through the dirt and darkness before reaching the light. That's discipline, to keep pushing even when you don't see immediate reward. The universe rewards persistence, not excuses. Many people pray for success, but forget that success requires structure. They want results, but avoid routines. They crave greatness, but resist grind. But life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're disciplined enough to work for. Discipline is not punishment, it's training. Just as a diamond is formed under pressure, your potential is shaped through consistent effort. Every morning you wake up, you face two choices: discipline or regret. If you choose discipline, you may feel discomfort for a moment, but if you choose regret, you'll feel pain for a lifetime. Every missed opportunity, every wasted day, every broken promise adds up, but every disciplined act, no matter how small, builds momentum toward the life you desire. So wake up with purpose. Do what you said you'd do. Don't let feelings dictate your future. Discipline yourself to work, to grow, to stay focused. Because when you master discipline, you master life. You stop being a slave to excuses and start being the creator of your destiny. Discipline is not a restriction, it's liberation. It frees you from chaos, from procrastination, from the endless cycle of almost. It teaches you that you don't need to be the best, you just need to be consistent. Because consistency beats talent when talent isn't disciplined. At the end of the day, success isn't built in one grand moment. It's built in quiet, Repetitive acts of discipline that no one sees. It's built when you choose progress over comfort, action over excuses, and focus over distraction. Kill your excuses. Feed your discipline. Because the person who masters discipline becomes unstoppable. And once you become unstoppable, the world can't ignore you. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build piece by piece through every challenge you overcome. It is the quiet voice inside that says, I can do this, even when everything around you screams you can't. Confidence doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you refuse to let fear control you. It's the courage to take a step even when the path isn't clear. The truth is, no one starts confident. Confidence grows through action, not imagination. It's forged in moments of doubt when you choose to move forward anyway. Think about it. When a child first learns to walk, they fall again and again. But they never stop trying. Each fall builds strength, balance, and courage until one day they take that first confident step. Life works the same way. Every failure, every rejection, every disappointment you face is not a reason to doubt yourself.